Draft week is finally here, Steeler Nation, which means we have saved our best NFL draft content for last here on Steelers Talk. So if you want in-depth Steelers coverage before, during, and after this year's 2023 NFL Draft, go ahead, click that subscribe button. We got my final mock draft coming up. We got the final draft targets. We've got some great stuff lined up for you. So go ahead, do me a favor, click that subscribe button right now. Welcome into Steelers Talk, Yinzers. My name is Jack Sperry. Today, I'm going to be breaking down your fan-led mock draft here for Steelers Talk, the 2023 fan-led mock draft here for the Steelers. I cannot wait to break this one down with you guys because you guys comment on my mock drafts. You guys tell me how bad my mock drafts are, so I can't wait to finally dish out some of that commentary on your mock draft now, okay? So we did this during the live show, Steelers Talk live show on Wednesday, okay? So if you don't like these picks, then, I'm sorry. You guys decided these picks, okay? So we're going to start off here in round one with Alabama defensive back Brian Branch, number 17 overall. Now, this is kind of a bombshell move here. Brian Branch is actually expected to potentially even make it to the second round, and we have this, and you guys had the Steelers taking Brian Branch in the first round here. Brian Branch is my top safety in this year's NFL draft class. And, he's kind of a weird prospect because he's not like a true safety. He played mostly nickel cornerback with Nick Saban at the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's 6 foot, 193 pounds. Didn't run the best. He didn't have the greatest relative athletic score. You take a look at his stats from last year, 90 tackles. This guy misses 0 tackles, only 4 missed tackles throughout his entire career with the Crimson Tide. 14 tackles for loss, 3 sacks. He's a pretty good blitzer, 2 interceptions, and 7 pass breakups. So he's a pretty darn good prospect, but he's starting to fall down draft boards right now because he didn't test all that well at the combine, okay? Only a 5.08 relative athletic score. He doesn't have great size for a safety there, as you can see, and then he didn't really test all that well. It was okay in all those other categories, but nothing truly special. Does have a 10-yard split that was in the green there, so I will say that he has some nice acceleration, so he does have that as a part of his game. He's going to be a really darn good player in the National Football League. If the Steelers make this pick, I wouldn't be too upset with it, but I think that with the options that are still available at number 17, I think they can do better. So I'm going to give this one a B- grade, okay? So I think Brian Branch is a really, really good player, but I think that he's more of a play at number 32 than at number 17 overall. That's just the way that I feel about it. I think that he's a good player. I'm not going to be too upset if this is the pick, but I think the Steelers could probably do better. Will you let me know in the comments section right now? Would you be happy if Brian Branch was the pick in round one for your Pittsburgh Steelers? Type Y if you would be happy, or type N if you wouldn't. This is going to be the pinned comment on today's show. So whenever you get an ad break here on the show, just go ahead, go into the comment section, find that pinned comment. It'll be right there at the top and answer today's question. Then we get into round two here where we take Jack Campbell, number 32 overall, inside linebacker out of the University of Iowa. And I really like Jack Campbell, man. He's my number 2 linebacker on my board. You can make a really good argument that he is the number 1 guy in this class. I have Daiyan Henley from Washington State just a little bit above Campbell because I think that he's a little bit more athletic. He's got a little bit more long speed than Campbell does. And going into this process, I thought Campbell was not going to be a good tester at the combine. I thought that he had good tape, but the speed, all these different things weren't going to be that good. But he blew me away, and he really won me over with his performance at the combine. The only thing that wasn't all that great was the 20 and 40-yard dash there. But those are in the yellow. It's not in the red, so I'm perfectly okay with that. Everything else is either great or elite. This guy got a 9.98 score on the relative athletic score. This guy's going to be a day 1 starter in the National Football League. This is a pretty darn good pick. But like I said, guys, he's not my number 1 guy. I prefer Daiyan Henley out of Washington State University. Now, you can disagree with me on that. I think that Henley and Campbell are really, really close, 1A, 1B. I also like Drew Sanders, Dorian Williams, and Savocia Dennis from the University of Pittsburgh. That is my top 5, and if the Steelers end up getting any one of these guys, I'm going to be relatively happy. I think the Steelers are going to really prioritize getting a coverage linebacker early on in this draft, and for me, this grade is definitely an A. I think that, getting a guy like Jack Campbell, someone that's plug and play, someone that's good in pass coverage, really, really solid in every single facet of the game. He's probably going to be a team captain for you as well. He's a fantastic prospect. I like this pick. Then we get into the second round pick here, and you guys had Kelly Ringo taken here in round 2, cornerback, to fill out that cornerback need that the Steelers have. Now you take a look at the scouting report for Kelly Ringo, 6'1", 207 pounds, so he's got great size, great physicality, okay, and Keeley has great speed as well. 4.36 is really, really good, man, especially at that size. And then, of course, the run defense, he's going to be a solid tackler for you. He doesn't miss too many tackles, which is something that I do like. But the reason why I'm not sure about making this pick, especially early on in the early rounds here, is that his hip fluidity and his short area quickness is just not where you want it to be for a number 1 cornerback in the National Football League. He's big and he's fast, but he can't really stop on a dime. He can't really mirror the same way that some of these other guys in this class can. So, although he's got the physical upside, I think he's more of a strong safety in the National Football League. I don't think he's really going to be that guy, that number 1 cornerback. I think he's going to make a real nice transition to strong safety wherever he's taken. But, I think wherever he gets taken, he's probably going to be trying out cornerback. But then once he figures out how good these wide receivers are at stopping and starting, I think he's going to make a transition to strong safety. And he's got the body type and the athleticism to make that work, in my opinion. So, although he's not my favorite cornerback prospect, guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. So I'm going to give this a C+. You're addressing a need here. The Steelers need to take a cornerback. He's somebody that's kind of like a boomer bust prospect. If it works out for you, you get a really, really good player. But if it doesn't work out, well, you're going to really, really regret this pick here in round 2. So let me know right now in the comments section. Predict for me, will Keely Ringo boom or bust in the NFL? Type boom if you think he's going to boom, or type bust if you think he's going to bust. For me personally, I think he's going to bust as a cornerback, but I think he's going to find a nice niche for himself as a strong safety in this league. Then in round 3, we double dip at inside linebacker here, and we take Dorian Williams, number 80 overall here out of Tulane. I really like Dorian Williams as a player, like I showed in that prior graphic. He's the number 4 inside linebacker on my list, guys. I think this would be a great pick, but you already take Jack Campbell, and I don't think you need to take 2 inside linebackers in this year's draft class. Okay, you signed Cole Holcomb and Landon Roberts for a reason. I think that Mike Tomlin wants those guys to play. Now, I think that the Steelers, like I said, they're going to be going after a linebacker early in the draft, but I don't think they're going to double dip, particularly twice on day 2. I just don't think this is going to happen. So although I love Dorian Williams, I love the talent that he brings to the table, and if this was the only inside linebacker pick, I would be thrilled with this, man. But drafting 2 inside linebackers, especially, within just 2 picks of each other, is just unnecessary when you already have Cole Holcomb, Andy Landon Roberts, guys that have had some success in the National Football League doing what they do. The Steelers brought them in for a reason. They like them. I think it's highly unlikely that the Steelers draft 2 inside linebackers in this year's draft class. So for me, I'm going to give this grade a C-, because although you're drafting one heck of a player, I think that Dorian Williams is going to be a good player for you. I just don't think it fills a need. I think you could probably go nose tackle or fill some other need here that could really be addressed. And I just think this is an unnecessary pick, so I'll give it a C-. Then we get into round 4 here, where we take Xavier Hutchinson, 120th overall here. Iowa State wide receiver, kind of a bigger slot receiver. I really like Xavier Hutchinson as a prospect. I think that he's going to be a really solid slot wide receiver, good route runner, not the fastest guy in the world, but at 6'3", 205 pounds, he's a good run blocker in the run game, which is something that I think that the Steelers really, really covet. And, the Steelers just traded for Allen Robinson to fill out that big slot wide receiver role. But if you draft a guy like Xavier Hutchinson here in the 4th round on day 3, you can bring him in, and Allen Robinson can kind of teach him the ropes. And then, whether it be in 2024 or 2025, Xavier can go go into that role, and I think that would be a nice, clean transition, and the Steelers can keep having that big slot receiver that Mike Tomlin likes to have in his offenses. But because the Steelers, they've already had some pretty nice picks here, and there's still a big need at nose tackle, I'm going to give this one a B-, guys. I think Xavier Hutchinson, really good player. I think he's going to be a really good pro in the league. He's going to really carve out a role for himself in the National Football League. But I think with that need at nose tackle still there that hasn't been addressed, I'm going to give this one a B-. Then we get into round 7 here. We got Rajon Wright, cornerback from Oregon State. And this is one of my sleeper guys in this year's NFL draft class. I think this guy's got the physical profile you look for in the National Football League. I think he's going to be, he's definitely a risk. Don't get me wrong. He's going in round 7 for a reason, but I think this is somebody that can develop into potentially a starting talent in the National Football League. I guess we'll have to see on that one, and because of that, I'm going to give this one a B+ grade. I think you're getting somebody that can be molded by Mike Tomlin, who is a former defensive backs coach. I think that this is somebody that is going to be a good culture fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. And now we get to the last pick of this mock draft, and yes, you guys picked me, your host, Jack Sperry, nose tackle out of Rochester Community and Technical College, 251st overall in the 7th round. This is the one that you guys wanted, guys. We had to dig up that old baseball picture of me back in my college baseball days, but look at that. That is the skinniest nose tackle you are ever going to see. But hey, we are addressing this need at nose tackle, so I'm going to give it an A+, man. I think this is a fantastic pick. I mean, good Lord, I'm flattered. You guys picked me. All right. I mean, you guys could have picked anyone, and you picked yours truly. So, I really do appreciate all the love there. It's kind of funny, but, that's going to be it for that fan-led mock draft, man. I give this one an A+. I think that last pick was probably the best pick of the draft because, of course, it is. All right, now let's get into kind of breaking down this entire NFL mock draft here, where we had Brian Branch going round 1, Jack Campbell and Keely Ringo going in round 2, Dorian Williams in round 3, and then we got the big slot receiver in Xavier Hutchinson in round 4, Rajon Wright, cornerback out of the Beavers there in Oregon State, and then you lock up nose tackle here with that hulking 165-pounder there, Jack Sperry, 251st overall. I laugh every time I see that picture, man. All right, it's your turn now. Grade this fan-led Steelers mock draft for me in the comments section. Give me an A, a B, a C, a D, or an F. For me, guys, I'm going to give you guys a C. All right, I've seen those comments blasting my Steelers mock drafts throughout this process, and it's been great to kind of break down something that was led by you guys. I think that you don't really address nose tackle. I mean, of course you draft me, but am I really going to fill that need? I don't think so. You draft 2 inside linebackers. I think you probably reach for Brian Branch here. So all in all, I'll give it a C. You got some good players, but I think it could certainly be better. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show, but I want to give you guys here an update. The war continues here between Steelers Talk and the Browns Report. Last week, we had a massively successful week on Steelers Talk Live, putting up $731, which was over double what the Browns Report had the week prior. And then the next day, those guys answered the bell. They got $768 in Super Chat revenue, so that now shifts the competition back to Steelers Talk when we go live next Friday for day 2 of the NFL Draft. And guys, if you guys hate the Cleveland Browns as much as I do, you better show up and you better be ready to have your A game, because we are going to win this. Just like the Browns are going to brown, maybe they'll have a win over the Steelers every once in a while. They're going to come up short, and the Steelers are always going to come out victorious. Okay, guys, can't wait to see you guys there. We can't wait for that, but man, it's going to be one heck of a draft week. I can't wait to get it going with y'all. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.